Hello sports fans, it is Tuesday, February the 17th, the year 2015, and as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. I'll tell you, here in the Northeast, the New York area, the Boston area, we have been hammered by snow and ice and frigid temperatures for a month now. I mean, here in New York, that's all we've had is snow and ice and cold temperatures, and every day there's a new storm, and Boston has had it even worse. So to me, the spring cannot get here soon enough. By the way, who is getting football withdrawal? I already have it. I mean, I miss football. I mean, I was so desperate for some football-related stuff that I was looking at next year's top 25 in college football, and I was also looking at everyone's opponent in the NFL next year. That's how desperate I am for anything football-related. February is a very slow month in the sports world, so I really miss football. Without further ado, let's do a little potpourri today. Let's touch on, some NBA, college basketball, NHL, touch on a couple other topics, do a little potpourri. Let's start in the NBA since they just had their All-Star game. Now listen, I am not a big NBA All-Star lover. As a matter of fact, I don't love any of the All-Star games. I don't like the NBA All-Star game. I certainly don't love the Pro Bowl. I don't like the hockey All-Star game. I don't even like the baseball All-Star game because I don't like that they determine home field for the World Series with an All-Star game. So I don't like any of the All-Star games at all. The NBA All-Star game was just here a couple days ago. It was in New York. They had the game at Madison Square Garden, the skills competitions over in Brooklyn. West won 163-158. Westbrook wins the MVP. Just what you think. No defense. It's an exhibition. They run up and down the court and they dunk. So to me, I could live with all that. I could live without all that stuff. I don't love any of that stuff. I mean, no defense, just dunking all over the place. I mean, to me, I could do without it. As far as the skills competitions, Curry wins the three-point contest. The dunk contest goes to Zach LaVine of Minnesota. Here's the problem I have with the dunk contest. None of the superstars do the dunk contest anymore. It's not like you got LeBron James out there and Durant and Kobe and, all the superstars. You have a bunch of young players that not a lot of people know who they are. And Zach LaVine did a nice job. Had some really nice dunks. The problem is he's not a superstar. The NBA is a superstar league. The dunk contest would be so much better if the superstars participated in it. I guess they don't want to be bothered. They want to party for 2 days. Maybe they think it's too much pressure. I mean, maybe they got to be creative. They got to think of all these new dunks. They don't even want to be bothered with it. They just want to party for a couple days. None of the superstars do the dunk contest anymore. It's not like, back in the day when Jordan and Dominique were going at it. So to me, that's the problem I have with the dunk contest. None of the superstars do it. And then you have the celebrity game. I mean, what a total joke that is. I mean, first of all, when they say celebrity game, it's not like they have all the A-list celebrities out there. It's not like they have Tom Cruise and Will Smith and Nicole Kidman out there playing basketball. They have some B-list celebrities. They have, a couple of WNBA players, a couple of, athletes out there. It's a whole mess. Everyone's trying to be funny. They have a couple of big stars, but it's just not funny. It's not good basketball. To me, it's a total waste of time. I don't know who would go to watch something like that. I don't know how you could sit there and watch that for a couple hours. I just don't know how you do it. And by the way, the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary special was on against the NBA All-Star game, and from what I hear, the Saturday Night Live special crushed the NBA as far as ratings. To me, both were bad. The NBA All-Star game was not good, and I watched a little bit of that Saturday Night Live show. It was not funny. It was not funny. It was painful. Eddie Murphy was not funny, and I like Eddie Murphy. Chevy Chase, who I love, was not funny. Nobody on there was funny. It was bad, painful TV. I mean, it was really awful, just like the Grammys were a couple weeks ago. I watched some of the Grammys. That's awful TV. I used to watch the Grammys religiously when I was younger. That is some awful TV as well. So I didn't think the Saturday Night Live show was good at all, and I certainly don't like the NBA All-Star game. As far as the NBA standings, remember the NBA resumes on Thursday. Here's the standings right now. Eastern Conference, here's your top 8. Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago, Washington, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Charlotte, and Miami. That would be your top 8. That's who would make the playoffs as of right now. Brooklyn, Boston, Detroit, and Indiana are hanging around, but they're not going anywhere even if they make the playoffs. To me, in the East, listen, Atlanta has done a great job. And by the way, the Atlanta coach, used to be an assistant for the Spurs under Popovich for 18 years. You think some of that magic dust from the Spurs hasn't rubbed off on the Atlanta Hawks? But to me, I am still not a believer that the Hawks can win a title. Now, maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I'm still not a believer, and they've done a great job this year. Toronto and Washington, good teams, but I don't think they can win a title. To me, when I look at the East, forget Milwaukee, even though they've done a nice job with Parker being out, forget Charlotte, forget Miami. To me, it's going to come down to Chicago and Cleveland. Those two teams, to me, are the best two teams when all is said and done. Right now, I would favor Chicago, but hey, LeBron and Love and Irving start clicking, hard to go against them. So to me, I think it's going to come down to Cleveland and Chicago. But there are a lot of good teams in the East. Atlanta, Toronto, Washington. Should be a lot of good basketball in the East in the playoffs. As far as the West is absolutely loaded. Here are your top 8. Golden State, Memphis, Portland, Houston, Dallas, the Clippers, San Antonio, and Phoenix. Oklahoma City and New Orleans on the outside looking in. I think Oklahoma City will get to the 8th spot. I think they will make the playoffs. Phoenix won't. Problem with Oklahoma City is once they make the playoffs, they're going to have no home court. Hard to go through the whole West with no home court. San Antonio is the 7th seed right now, but you can't ever count them out, and you know they could take their show on the road. I'm not enamored with the Clippers. I'm not enamored with Dallas. They're good teams, but I don't know if they're championship teams. Houston has the Dwight Howard injury. You've got to see how he plays when he gets back. Portland has a nice collection of players, but I don't know if they're a championship team. Memphis, good team. Can Conley become that superstar we think he may be able to become? Golden State, to me, looks like the best team right now in the Western Conference, and they have a great home court advantage, got a great backcourt. I love what Steve Kerr has done. The West is absolutely loaded. Right now, if I had to pick a final, I would pick Golden State, and I would pick the winner of that Chicago-Cleveland series, and right now I'd favor the Bulls, although, you know, I'm not totally confident on that. Right now I would pick Golden State against Chicago, but I could see a bunch of teams making the finals. I really could from both conferences. So that's where we are in the NBA. Long way to go for the NBA before we get to the playoffs. Let's touch on the college basketball. Let's go through the top 25 real quick, touch on a few other things. Here's the top 25. This came out yesterday. Number 25 is Virginia Commonwealth. Listen, I think Virginia Commonwealth will make the tournament, but they lost one of their best players for the year, so that's going to really hurt them. I don't think they're going to make much noise in the tournament. Number 24, Ohio State. I did watch them lose over the weekend at Michigan State. Michigan State hit a 3 late to beat them. Number 23, West Virginia. They got blown out by Iowa State. Weren't playing well up until last night. Then they had a huge win at home against Kansas. They get a layup late, and Kansas misses a chippy right in front of the rim late, and West Virginia survives. Great win by West Virginia. They had to have that win. They were not playing well recently. Number 22 is Oklahoma State. They beat Baylor last week, then they lost to TCU. Oklahoma State, I think, is a solid tournament team, but I can't see them getting to like a Final Four or making a big run like that. Number 21, SMU. They blew out UConn over the weekend. That's where College Game Day was. SMU has a great home crowd. Now, by the way, they try and do the College Game Day like they do for college football with the college basketball now. It just doesn't have the same feel. The college football game day is really good. The college basketball game day, listen, I know they're trying. It just doesn't have the same feel. Maybe too many games in college basketball. College football, you know, there's one game a week. All the games are so important. Maybe there's too many games in college basketball to, you know, focus on one game for a college game day. It just doesn't have the same feel. But SMU does blow out UConn over the weekend. Number 20, Baylor. Baylor, like I said last week, a couple weeks ago, they are putting together a solid sports program. I mean, their women's team is always good. Now their men's team is in the top 25. You know, the football team is doing really well. They look like they're going to be in the top 10 next year. I like what Baylor has done overall in their athletic program. Number 19 is Butler. They had a very tough loss to Villanova over the weekend. Very tough loss. That was a tremendous game, by the way. But Butler did rebound last night and pull out a win against Creighton at Creighton. Number 18 is Arkansas. They are 20-5. This was my surprise team. This was the team I was going to pick as a surprise in the tournament. The problem is they're playing so well. They're up to 18. They may continue to climb the rankings. They may not be such a surprise when all's said and done. Arkansas, a very solid team. And I'll tell you what, Anderson is a very good coach. He was an assistant under Nolan Richardson in Arkansas. Nolan Richardson won the national title. Anderson went to Missouri, did some really nice things with Missouri. Now he's back at Arkansas as the head coach, doing a tremendous job with this Razorback team. This Razorback team is good. They're very good at home. That's another very underrated home court. You ever get out to Fayetteville, check out Arkansas at home in football and basketball. Great home crowd there. And Anderson, since he left Missouri, by the way, how is Missouri doing? Missouri has fallen apart. So Anderson, very underrated coach. Arkansas, surprise team to keep an eye on. They do play Kentucky this year. I think the game is at Kentucky, though. I wish the game was at Arkansas. I might pick an upset there. Hard to pick against Kentucky at home, though. Arkansas, keep an eye on them. Number 17, Oklahoma. This is another team a lot of people are picking as a surprise once tournament time comes around. The Big 12, by the way, is absolutely loaded. There's a million teams that are going to make the tournament from the Big 12. Oklahoma beat Iowa State last week, then they lost to K-State. Oklahoma, like I said, a lot of people are picking them to be a surprise in the tournament. Number 16, Maryland, they continue to surprise me. They're 21-5. They were 2-0 last week. I never thought Maryland would be this good. I just did not. I did not see this coming. Maryland is doing a great job. Number 15, North Carolina. Typical of North Carolina. They're up, they're down. They lose at Pitt. I mean, you never know what you're getting with North Carolina. They have a huge game in Durham against Duke tomorrow night. That is a must-watch if you're a college basketball fan. Duke, North Carolina, you can't miss it. Number 14, Iowa State. I've said it a million times. They are absolutely tremendous at home. One of the most underrated home courts in all of college basketball. Number 13, Wichita State, 23-3. What a great job by Wichita State. It's another crowd I love out there in Wichita, and I love their name, the Wheat Shockers, the Shockers. Really, really solid team, Wichita State. A lot of people were picking them as a surprise before the season. The problem is they're ranked number 13. I mean, if you're looking for a surprise team in the tournament, it's hard to pick them now. They're already up to 13 in the rankings, but they are doing a great job. Number 12, Louisville. Lost to NC State at home over the weekend. I was not impressed with that loss at all by Louisville. I thought they should have handled NC State at home. NC State is a funny team, by the way. They've had some really nice wins this year, had some really bad losses. Number 11, Northern Iowa, 24-2. This is one of Northern Iowa's best teams in their history. They're doing a great job. Number 10, Notre Dame. They've been hanging around the top 10 all year. They're 22-4. Can't say enough good things about Notre Dame. And they're another one. In women's basketball and men's basketball, they're good in both now. And you know about their historic football program, so nice job by Notre Dame. Number 9, Utah. They beat Stanford and Cal last week. I did watch both of those games. Larry Kostoviak is doing a great job as coach of Utah. I mean, I had only seen Utah once this year before last week, and they had gotten blown out by UCLA. I did get a chance to watch them last week, and they beat Stanford and Cal handily, so I was impressed with Utah, another great home crowd. Number 8, Kansas. Once again, they lead the Big 12. How many years in a row has Kansas won the Big 12? Last night they had a tough loss, like I mentioned, at West Virginia. I mean, they missed a layup, Kansas, with time running out. They should have had the layup, should have won the game. They totally blew the layup at the end, but still overall, Kansas probably is going to win the Big 12 again. I don't think Kansas is a Final Four team. This is not one of Kansas's better teams. They're good, don't get me wrong. They're not great, though. Number 7, Arizona, 22-3, 2-0 last week. Definitely a Final Four contender. Starting to peak at the right time. I believe College game day in Tucson this weekend against UCLA. Number 6, Villanova, 23-2. Had the big win against Butler. They won at Providence. What a great job by Villanova. Villanova doesn't have much size, but they have a great backcourt. And I'll tell you what they have. They have 6 guys that all contribute. I think 6 guys average over 9 points a game. I think last night when they blew out Providence, they had 5 guys who scored 10 or more. So they're getting contributions from a lot of people. So really, I'm sorry, they didn't play Providence last night. They played Butler and Providence last week, beat them both. They played Seton Hall last night, blew out Seton Hall. By the way, what's happened to Seton Hall? They started off nice. They've fallen apart. So Villanova blew out Seton Hall last night, and they beat Providence and Butler last week, just to make that correction. But you get my point. Villanova is playing some good ball, have a lot of people contributing, doing a really, really nice job, Villanova. And you know I love Jay Wright. Number 5, Wisconsin. They're 23-2. You know about the big man Kaminsky. Who doesn't love Kaminsky? Great player, great name, Kaminsky. Great basketball name. The Kohl Center, another wacky, wild environment there. Number 4, Duke, 22-3. I'll tell you what. No team has more quality wins than Duke, especially on the road. Duke has beaten Wisconsin, they've beaten Louisville, they've beaten Virginia, they've beaten Notre Dame, they've beaten St. John's, and St. John's looks like a tournament team now. Nobody has a better collection of wins than Duke. Like I said, Duke, North Carolina tomorrow at Cameron. Must watch. Number 3, Gonzaga. They're 26-1. Will this be the year they make the Final Four? Only lost to Arizona. They could have easily won that game. Gonzaga, this is their best chance to make the Final Four. Number 2, Virginia. They're 23-1. Remember, they're playing without one of their better players now. Anderson is out. He will be back for the tournament, so keep that in mind. They're not the same team without him, so they have to have him back. Their only loss is at home to Duke, but they have to have Anderson back. Looks like he will be back for the tournament. And number 1, Kentucky, 25-0. Will they go undefeated? They had a tough game against LSU last week. They pulled it out. They have a tough game tonight, I believe, at Tennessee. You might want to check that game out. Tennessee is okay. The Tennessee crowd should be rocking tonight, singing Rocky Top about 450 times. I don't know if Tennessee is good enough to knock off Kentucky, though. The game is at Tennessee, though. It is a road game. The crowd should be going nuts. You might want to check that game out tonight. It's a good doubleheader on ESPN tonight. Kentucky at Tennessee, and I believe Michigan State at Michigan is the second game. Big rivalry game. So that is your top 25. Some teams that are just outside the top 25 that you would consider tournament teams right now. Texas, who I would consider disappointing right now, but they are going to make the tournament. San Diego State, you know Fisher does a great job, played great defense. And by the way, how about the home crowd at San Diego State now? When Fisher first got there, no one was going to the games. I think his wife said he could count the number of people in the stands. Now they get a full house every time out. They call the San Diego State games the show now. San Diego State looks like a tournament team. So does Providence, Murray State, Temple, Georgetown. A lot of people are picking Georgetown as a surprise. Michigan State, you know they get better as the season goes on. Dayton, Texas A&M, Valparaiso, Indiana, all teams outside of the top 25 that look like tournament teams right now. As far as teams that are on the bubble that you would say right now are in, Colorado State, LSU, Stanford, UCLA, Illinois, NC State, and Tulsa. Right now, you'd say those teams are in, but no margin for error. I mentioned before St. John's. They've been playing better. They look like a tournament team right now. The teams that are on the bubble that would be out right now, Boise State, Purdue, Oregon, Miami, Davidson, Old Dominion, BYU, UMass, all those teams have work to do. Looks like Florida won't make the tournament this year. Florida's been in the tournament as long as I can remember. UConn, they're in all sorts of trouble. Remember, UConn won it last year. Now listen, after the run UConn had last year, they could sit this tournament out. They get a mulligan here. UConn had such a great run last year. I mean, come on. That was a run for the ages. So, I mean, you can't get too spoiled up there, UConn fans. You got that great women's team who's ranked number 1 again, who blew out South Carolina last week. You can't be too spoiled with your men's team. If they don't make the tournament, you're going to have to live with it. You guys won it last year with that historic run. You guys get a mulligan this year. And Syracuse won't be in the tournament this year because of, the sanctions they put on themselves. They're on probation for 1 year, so Syracuse won't be in the tournament. It will be very strange not seeing Jim Boeheim not in the tournament. So that's just a little overview with your college basketball. We still got a ways to go for college basketball. We still, got a lot of time. We got the rest of February. March comes up, then we got the tournaments for March. Remember, you win your conference tournament, you make the dance. So there's a lot of stuff still to be decided in college basketball. As far as the NHL, real quick, as far as the Eastern Conference, to me, I've been saying it all along. These 8 teams in the Eastern Conference are going to make it. Montreal, Tampa, Detroit, Boston, Islanders, Penguins, Rangers, and Washington. I would be surprised if it's not those 8. Now listen, Philly has been playing a little better, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Florida's only about 5 points behind, but I don't think they're going to make it either. I would be surprised if it wasn't those 8 teams. By the way, last night, the Rangers beat the Islanders 6-5 at the Coliseum. What a great game. Great comeback by the Rangers. Tremendous, tremendous hockey game. And Montreal last night shuts out Detroit. What a great job by the goaltender for Montreal, pitching the shutout in Detroit. Not easy to do. As far as the Western Conference, As far as right now, the 8 teams that would be in: Nashville, St. Louis, Chicago, Winnipeg, Anaheim, San Jose, Vancouver, and Calgary. Minnesota, LA, and Dallas are all still in the hunt. Right now, LA, who won the Cup last year, is not in a playoff spot. There is time, but the West is loaded. Both conferences are really loaded. I'll tell you, when you look at the NHL and the NBA, you're going to have some intriguing stuff come playoff time. There's a lot of good teams in both the NBA and the NHL, so it should be interesting. So that is your NHL. Back to the college basketball real quick. I had to mention Dean Smith and Jerry Tarkanian passing away. So they both will be very, very missed. I mean, very, very missed. Dean Smith, of course, wins the gold medal. He won 2 national titles, 11 Final Fours, won a title as a player, I believe, at Kansas. Jerry Tarkanian won the national title, 4 Final Fours. His UNLV team, the 1990 title team, was just absolutely unbelievable. And the 1991 team might have been better. They were undefeated before they lost in the Final Four to Duke. Those 2 teams, if you haven't seen them, go try and find some footage on those 2 teams with Larry Johnson and Augman and Anthony. And that was back in the day where the players would stay 3-4 years. Those teams were monster teams. I mean, they were unbelievable teams. They were like a wrecking crew, those teams. So Jerry Tarkanian and Dean Smith, you guys will definitely be missed. A tremendous loss in college basketball. And I also wanted to mention Ernie Banks passed away, transitioning to baseball a little bit. Ernie Banks passed away a few weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to mention it. Ernie Banks, of course, the 14-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, of course, coined the phrase, "Let's play 2." Ernie Banks, you also will be missed. So I wanted to mention those 3, Dean Smith, Jerry Tarkanian, and Ernie Banks, all passed away. They all will be missed. Baseball, believe it or not, we are coming up to spring training soon. I think pitchers and catchers are already reporting down in Florida. Pretty soon we're going to be in spring training. How long is the baseball season? Baseball will be here in what, like 6 weeks maybe? I think it starts the first week of April, right? So baseball will be here very, very shortly. Daytona 500 this weekend. I know there's a lot of NASCAR lovers out there. You know what's funny about the Daytona 500? It's the biggest race of the NASCAR season, but they have it first. It's not like they have it the last, race of the year, to climax the whole season. They start off with their biggest race. The Daytona 500 is how they start off the NASCAR season. So for all you Daytona 500 fans, the Daytona 500 is this weekend. I know there's a lot of NASCAR fans. NASCAR is very popular in certain parts of this country. As far as the golf, we're starting to get going with the golf season again. The Masters will be here before you know it. I know people are sickened about it, but Tiger Woods, what is the story with Tiger Woods? More injuries, more tournaments missed. It was a foregone conclusion that Tiger Woods was going to pass Jack Nicklaus and win the most majors. Now is Tiger Woods going to ever win a major again? He hasn't won a major in about 7 years. He's still 4 behind Jack, to tie him, 5 behind him to pass him. And there hasn't been many golfers at Tiger Woods' age that have won a major, let alone 4 or 5. And Tiger Woods has all kinds of injuries. Now, I would never bet against him. He's got too much talent. But I'll tell you what, it was a foregone conclusion that Tiger Woods was going to pass Jack Nicklaus. Now, I don't know about this. He hasn't won a major in 7 years. I know a lot of people are sick of talking about Tiger Woods. I think Tiger Woods is good for golf when he's playing well. People get annoyed, though, when he's not playing well, and they show every shot he's taken, and he's like 30 shots off the lead. So golf coming up, we'll keep an eye on Tiger Woods. As far as boxing, what in the world is going on with Mayweather and Pacquiao? Can these two please get in the ring already? I mean, this has been going on for what, 5 years already? Get in the ring already. I can't take any more of it with the networks and what size gloves they want to wear and the drug testing and when the fight's going to be and the ring size and who's getting the bigger cut. And I can't take it anymore. Can they just fight already? Oh my goodness, enough already. Boxing has enough trouble. They can't even get the 2 best guys in the ring. My goodness, enough is enough. Mayweather and Pacquiao, get in the ring already. They want to fight in early May. Well, time's running out. We're almost at the end of February. You need time to promote this fight. You need time to train. Can you get the deal done already? Oh my goodness, and both sides are to blame. I can't take it anymore. Mayweather and Pacquiao, get it together. And of course, the Oscars are this weekend. Now, like I said, I watched the Grammys a couple weeks ago. And that's just flat out awful TV. And then you got Kanye West up there, you know, with his shenanigans. I used to watch the Grammys all the time. I can't get through it anymore. It's just terrible TV. I just can't take it anymore. It was just awful. And I feel like the Oscars is a lot of bad TV too. Now, I love movies. Now, most of the movies I watch are terrible, but I do like going to a movie, putting in a DVD. I like being a film critic from time to time. So I like movies, but the Oscar show is about 3-4 hours, and you get maybe about 20 minutes that's worth watching when they actually announce the awards. As far as Best Picture, there's 8 pictures up for Best Picture. Now, I've only seen 2 of them. Some of these movies haven't been released on DVD yet because they're so popular they keep them in the theater. I haven't got a chance to see them. Here are the 8 movies that are up. Boyhood, Grand Budapest Hotel, American Sniper, Birdman, Imitation Game, Selma, Theory of Everything, and Whiplash. Now, I've only seen 2 of these movies, and I didn't like either one. I saw Boyhood, which I believe won the Golden Globe, which a lot of people think will win Best Picture. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was boring. I thought it was stale. Nothing was going on. I mean, they just left out time periods. I mean, all of a sudden the kids are one age, then they're another age. They're not filling in the gaps for me. To me, nothing went on. And I'm not saying, you know, the actors didn't do a good job and all that kind of stuff. I thought the movie was flat. I thought it was boring. I didn't like it. I also saw the Grand Budapest Hotel. How is this movie up for an Oscar? I mean, there was a couple laughs in it, but I didn't think this was an Oscar movie. This is not something I'd ever watch again. I mean, I didn't like either one of those movies. So to me, those 2 are eliminated right off the bat. Right off the bat. Of course, American Sniper, that's with Bradley Cooper, who everything he touches now turns to gold. That's directed by Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood not up for Best Director. I am surprised being the movie is up, but Clint is not up. Birdman, that's with Michael Keaton and Ed Norton. By the way, Ed Norton was in Grand Budapest Hotel and Birdman. So Ed Norton, who's a tremendous actor, was in 2 of the films that are up for Best Picture. Birdman getting a lot of great reviews. Keaton won the Golden Globe. Imitation Game, I hear a lot of good things about that. Selma, I believe Oprah Winfrey is in that. Theory of Everything, that could be a rough watch. I don't know if this is going to be a depressing movie. This is about a guy that's, I guess, a real genius mathematician, and he's suffering from ALS. I mean, I'm going to watch it, and I'm sure it's a good movie, but the content may be depressing. I mean, but I'll definitely watch it. I think that comes out on DVD this week, and I think Birdman comes out on DVD this week. And Whiplash, I believe, is a true story about a drummer at a high school, and his teacher, and you know, the drummer is trying to impress the teacher, and the teacher's trying to get, you know, the drummer to be the best drummer he can be, and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what it's about. I think it's about a drummer based on a true story and all that kind of stuff. So I have about 6 movies I got to see. Like I said, the 2 I saw, I didn't like at all, so I'd eliminate them right away. I mean, to me, I think it's going to come down to Imitation Game, Birdman, and American Sniper. I think those 3 are the 3 to look out for. I don't think American Sniper is going to win it. I'm going to go between Imitation Game and Birdman. I'm interesting to see who gets it between those 2, and I hear a lot of good things about Imitation Game. Everyone that has saw that movie has liked it. Same thing with Birdman. Like I said, though, the Grammys, pretty much an awful show. It's about 3-4 hours, and you basically want to see 20 minutes. That's why I'll DVR it, and I'll just fast forward it, and I'll just watch when they're announcing the awards. I don't need all that other stuff where everyone's up there trying to be funny and all, you know, all that comedic nonsense and all the fill-up time. I don't need any of that. To me, the show could be a half hour. Just announce the awards and let's move on. That's, to me, I don't need all that other stuff. And everyone tries to be funny. Why is everyone a comedian when they get up there to make a speech? Everyone tries to be funny and they're not. So the Oscars are this week. I will try and see some of these movies. Like I said, the 2 I saw, wasn't impressed with. All right, there you go. You guys are all caught up. We did a little potpourri today. Did a little NBA, a little NHL, a little college basketball. Even threw in a little Oscars for you there. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. I'll be back, I'm sure, with you guys next week. We'll touch on everything that's going on in the sports world. Like I said, February, a very light month in the sports world. I mean, you're kind of just getting out of the All-Star break for the NBA. The NHL still got a ways to go. February is kind of a dead month in college basketball before you get to March Madness. We're not in baseball season yet. We're still withdrawing from football. We're still not in the heart of the golf season yet. So we're kind of in no man's land here. We got to get to March, get those clocks turned forward, get to some, have the sun out at, a later hour, and, maybe get a little warmer temperature. We got to get a thaw going here in New York and Boston, by the way. Got to get the snow and ice off the ground. You guys are all caught up. You guys, thanks for the support as always. You guys enjoy the games. Great doubleheader tonight. Kentucky at Tennessee. Should be a great crowd at Tennessee. Don't think they can pull off the upset, but the crowd should be unbelievable. And Michigan State at Michigan, tremendous rivalry. You guys enjoy the games. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. I will talk to you next week. Thanks for the support as always. Take care.